The right's only tactic consists entirely of preventing people from having access to information contrary to what they're feeding us.
Students and teachers at Arkansas Central High School had sued Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders for effectively banning Black history in education. The NAACP has joined in on this lawsuit. So now what they're challenging is the so-called LEARNS Act, okay? And that act essentially bans critical race theory, DEI, and other so-called left-wing indoctrination, okay? Which is not actually happening in schools, but that's what they claim. The LEARNS Act actually does not even include an accurate or clear definition of what critical race theory is, but understand that is by design. That is by design. The right wing wants to eliminate just anything that explores the historical suffering of minorities in the United States so that we don't actually fix the effects of that. Due to the law's vague language, educators have been forced to limit discussions on topics ranging from affirmative action to Jim Crow laws, and even the Little Rock Nine, according to the lawsuit. So now, Central High School is kind of famous for it being the place where school desegregation was, launched. They kind of have a history with this, and now, because of Sarah Sanders and the right wing's limit on education, well, you're not really even able to teach the history of that very school. At least under the law, teachers could face sanctions and potentially lose their education for violating this vague law, which makes a lot of these teachers self-censor. And that is the focus of this lawsuit. Now, the lawsuit argues that the advanced placement African American studies classes taught in Arkansas public schools have not been treated fairly. They have received inequitable treatment, have been marginalized and underfunded when compared to other advanced placement courses. There was also a time where that AP class, those AP courses, were not giving college credit like they're supposed to. Now, the whole point of AP class is to give out these college credits to give people a leg up in college admissions. Actually saves people a lot of money because they don't have to pay for those college courses. So that's very important. Well, so there's a significant financial part to this as well as getting a good rounded education on these topics, which are very important. So now the suit also claims that the alleged inequities have both deprived students in the opportunity to learn about African American history and contributions that have maintained a level of systemic inequality. One of the plaintiffs in the lawsuit, Ruthie Walls, happens to be an AP teacher of African American studies, and according to the lawsuit, Walls, who was named Little Rock Central High School's Teacher of the Year for the 2023-2024 school year, is hamstrung by the bill. She claims that she now self-censors herself out of fear of the penalties that she may face if she actually does her job, which is to teach. She then also claims that she does not deeply delve into historic topics such as the impact of Jim Crow laws and the consequences of Brown v. Board of Education, because, once again, that might be considered critical race theory. The amended complaint further says that Walls worries that the effect of the LEARNS Act will negatively affect her students' success on the advanced placement exam, harming them, of course, in their future. So here's the thing about this and other anti-DEI, anti-woke, anti-CRT education. It's all BS. It's all trying to censor conversations about things that some people find uncomfortable. And I'm not talking about the students. The students are not the ones who are feeling uncomfortable here. It's about certain parents who have certain beliefs and don't want those beliefs challenged. They do not want their children to learn about how racism affects people today, or learn about the struggles that minorities have had in this country to attain the rights that they have today, and how that struggle continues to this day. Now, the right claims that this is about wanting white kids to not feel guilty or whatever, or ashamed. Well, first of all, nobody wants any child to feel guilty or shamed or whatever. based on the color of their skin. These days, you have a bunch of racists that are in power that want to keep their power, and that's why they do this, that are, saying, we can't teach children actual history and the impacts of that history because we're going to make them feel bad. No. That's the thing is, it's not teaching children to hate other white people or to feel bad or whatever. No, it's about trying to teach history and the effects of the history so that, first of all, they have a good understanding of the events that actually happened and the effects of those events. But there's a secondary thing, and this is what conservatives really don't want. When you learn the history of how things were unfair and unjust to certain groups of people, most people have a sense of fairness. When exposed to that truth, they will act on the side of justice and equality. That's it. That's what the far right's afraid of. And so what they're trying to do, getting back to, and by the way, the woman that you saw at the beginning of this video is Aliemi Alurin, and that's actually from a video about Greg Abbott in Texas, and I'll put the link in the video because it's a brilliant takedown of Greg Abbott, but it applies here what she said for the right wing when it comes to keeping information from people. I think it applies to more than just Texas. It applies here in this situation. That's what they're afraid of, the right wing. That's why they're trying to restrict education with this legislation. We saw it in Florida. We saw it in Texas. We're seeing it in Arkansas. We're seeing it in many different places right now where they have a literal war on facts, on history, on education, anything that has to do with the history of struggle in this country by anyone who's a minority. And so that's the goal here. And I hope the lawsuit is successful in making sure that Arkansas has to get rid of these laws, and not just Arkansas, but the rest of the country, so that the rest of the country is able to teach facts and information and not be allowed to whitewash or hide the real history of minorities in America. Because the more that we learn about the history, the more we can actually make this country better for everyone.